conference where people are talking about technology, I'm here to bring you a slightly different take to data. In this age of AI, where most of the conversations have been dominated by AI and Gen AI, I'm here to take you back a little bit to our roots. Yeah? So I'd like to begin a little bit talking about data in the sense of when we think about data, most of us, and especially in a CIO conference, most of us equate data to technology, digitalization, some coding languages, some teams of data scientists, which we presume are sitting in some dark corner of the office doing some number crunching that nobody understands. And which is fair because it was the advent of the technological age, the internet revolution, the big data decade, that gave us ways and means to collect and store data. So in the last 20 years, most of the organizations have spent literally millions of dollars on back-end technology that helps them collect, store, and process data, which was very much needed because till the time you did not have data, there was no way you could make sense of it. But once companies like yourself were sitting on tons of data, there was another leg of realization that, oh, we have so much data, but how do we use it? What do we do of all the data that we are sitting on? And so there was another leg of investment done by organizations across the globe in what I call the front-end technologies, which are your BI tools, your dashboards, your technology that gives you data at the click of a button. And yet, in spite of all the investment that we have done in technology, in digitalization, we still end up with results that look like this. Does this cartoon seem familiar? Yeah? Can I have a show of hands? Does this cartoon seem familiar? Come on, don't be lazy, guys. I know I'm the last speaker. I would love a little more energy in this room. Yeah? So this cartoon here summarizes the sorry state of data in our organizations today. Data-driven decision-making is the biggest competitive differentiator, and I am sure everybody here agrees to it. Everybody here, every single organization wants to be data-driven. We have invested millions of dollars, and yet we end up with problem statements like this, which is not unique to you, which is a common problem statement across the globe. Now, the reason for this problem statement is one missing link. Yes, we invested in back-end technology. Yes, we invested in front-end technology, but we forgot one important aspect of this data life cycle, which I like to call data psychology. Very simply put, data psychology is our ability to think with data, right? So to give you a little background, oops, something happened there. Yeah. So data psychology, very simply put, is our ability to think with data. Now, just like how human psychology is about understanding behaviors of data, sorry, something was off there. Just like how human psychology is about understanding the behaviors of data, data psychology takes us back to understanding the behavior of numbers. A lot of times, what you see in front of you does not tell the full story. For example, when we look at a human face or a human body, we don't understand what's going on inside. Study of the human mind, human behaviors is data psychology. To understand what lies behind the numbers is data psychology. Very simply put, understanding human behaviors is data psychology. Understanding data behaviors, data patterns is data psychology. Taking it ahead, the human psychology enables us to understand and develop better behaviors and cognitive processes. Likewise, data psychology enables us to understand and develop better data thinking abilities and application of those cognitive processes. The way I like to talk about data psychology, I like to say it's all about looking beyond the numbers. Now, all the tools and texts that we have in the world today are only giving us numbers. Technology, with all due respect, can only do number crunching for us. Technology does not tell us the story behind the numbers. As many as the AI tools we have today who claim to give you the stories behind the numbers, they cannot give you the story behind the numbers. At the most, what they can get to is what is the number and what are the broad trends and patterns in the numbers. So when we look at a number, let's say a simple number which says employee turnover, attrition. Attrition in your organization is 18%. This is all we get from the tools or the technologies or the dashboards we have. But this number by itself means nothing. Yeah? This number by itself means absolutely nothing unless we understand what's going on behind with it. So I like to say that for me, data psychology, which is the foundation of data analysis and storytelling, is more like an iceberg. It's like taking an iceberg test. Now, this little portion, which is visible above the sea level, is something that we are rarely interested in. For us humans, curiosity is driven by what is not available, not visible. Applying this normal, simple human trait of human psychology, I lead to data psychology, which helps me realize that just throwing a number at my audience has no meaning, no value to it. What my audience really wants to understand is the hidden story, the hidden meaning behind those numbers. What my audience wants me to do is go deeper into that iceberg to find different levels, unearthing different levels of meaning behind that number. All of this can be done only by the human mind. Technology, AI today is not equipped to do this kind of storytelling, to find this kind of meaning behind the numbers that lead to effective decision making. In our bid to become data-driven, we have only emphasized on technology and digitalization, forgetting a very important aspect, which is the human brain. I famously like to say that in the age of AI, if you want to differentiate yourself, you have to focus on RI, which is real intelligence. Data psychology is about the application of this human intelligence, this real intelligence, which is our own cognitive processes. Now, here is an example of the kind of data communications that are happening in our businesses today. Typically, charts like these, visuals like these, is what in my language I call data dumps. These charts, these visuals, which are circulated across our organizations, and I work with the best of the organizations who all have data dumps. These charts, which are circulated across the organizations, are mere visual representations of raw data. This is what the tool gives me with a click of a button or a click of a few buttons, and we leave it at there. Our people are not applying their mind. Our people are not realizing that when we give data dumps like these, we are making our audience, our business stakeholders do the work of analyzing the data, which is not their job, which is not their KRA. It is the individual who is making their charts and analyzing the data, their job to do it. So instead of such charts, what if we had stories like these? What if we had stories, presentations, outcomes like these, which in an instant made it easy for the audience, for the stakeholder, for the business decision maker to understand what was happening behind the data, for them to understand the meaning, the behavior of that data, so that they could take necessary and impactful decisions. Unfortunately, this is not happening in any organization, and I work with topmost, the largest MNCs across the globe. Everything that I've shown you here does not need any big software or technology. These examples that I've shown you here can be done with very simple Excel and PowerPoint, just by application of the human mind, and that is what I mean by data psychology. I have very simple formulae to help people learn data psychology. Now, most people in businesses, and you are all technology guys, you might know, most people in our business organizations, domain specialists, are data averse. They are scared of data. The moment we start talking about any data language or any tech language, they are scared of us because they don't realize the true meaning of data. Because most people think data means technology. When I was called by the events team here to, they wanted to invite me to speak at this conference, my instant reaction was, but I don't do anything about cybersecurity. Why do you want me to come and speak at this event? My immediate reaction was that because most of us don't realize that when we talk about data, it doesn't necessarily have to be tech. Most of us don't realize that data goes a long way beyond tech. Data is simple, and that is my mission, to simplify data for everybody. Okay? Before we get into a little bit more of data psychology, if you want to simplify data for your business audience, so that you are able to make better business cases for all the technological implementations that you want to do, help them understand data psychology. Help them understand that data is not necessarily tech. Help them understand what data is. When we think of data, most people think of only Excel sheets or big coding languages or databases which are full of numbers. That is not the true definition of data. Very simply put, data is equal to units of information. That is it. Everything is data. Just think, if you are waiting on one side of the road to cross the road and go to the other side, all of us are somewhere collecting data, processing data, analyzing data, and then making the decision to cross the road or not. All of our human minds are equipped to process, analyze data, and make decisions from it. Unfortunately, because of this misconception, a lot of the people in the business are data averse. So what exactly is data? Data can essentially be put into 4 aspects. Data could be quantitative, qualitative, structured, unstructured. When we think of data, we only think of structured, quantitative information. We think data is restricted only to this structured, quantitative information which comes in our databases, dashboards, Excel sheets, and that is why people are averse from data, because they need expertise, tool expertise to access it. Incorrect. Misunderstanding. Data is qualitative also. Equally qualitative in nature, especially in business, right? Your emails, your meeting notes, all of this is examples of structured qualitative information. Now, there is a lot of data which is unstructured, which we don't know how to use. So if you ask me, even the facial expressions that I see on your face right now are data. They are information. If I have the ability, I can convert that into structured units of information, which can then be analyzed, interpreted, decisions, communication, all of that can follow later, right? So data is not restricted to only the numbers that come on Excel sheets and dashboards. Even a lot of the unstructured information that is there is data. a most important resource of data, the most important database of data, which none of us seem to give importance to, is the human brain, the human memory. Every second, your human brain is collecting tons of information. Whatever is your age, multiply it. You have had so much information, so much data that is stored here. If only we had the ability to pull out the right information at the right time, to apply it in the right situation and help us make relevant, timely decisions, right? That is what the power of data psychology is. That is just a glimpse, the beginning of what I like to introduce and talk about. First, it is important to break some common myths about data. Before I even get into what I mean by data psychology, and I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have, this timer is not working, it's just frozen, so I have no idea how much time I have. So first, it is important to break some myths. And this is very important for the technical people, technological people to understand this, because somewhere our conversations, technical jargon is making people data averse, right? So the first thing to understand is that number one, data is not for data scientists and analysts only. Most people think that data is the business of a select group of data scientists. Absolutely wrong. I have explained to you what data is. If you understand this definition of data, there is not a single individual on planet Earth who does not use data and data analysis. Coming back to a business setup, there is not a single job, role, designation, profile in businesses today that does not analyze data, that does not use Excel sheets, that does not make charts, presentations, or communicate with an audience using business data. Having said that, every job role has a place and scope and potential to learn and apply their data skills. The other big myth that people live with is that data is equal to big data only. When we think of data, people think it is only big. It is not big. Most of the data which is utilized in organizations is small data. Data that still fits in Excel sheets. What is the count of employees that you have in your organization? And how many percentage of employees use coding languages to deal with data versus how many percentage of employees use Excel sheets to analyze data and make charts? Most of the data is small data. Thereafter, most people believe that data is complex and time consuming because they don't have the real understanding of data, because they have all these misconceptions about data. But data is actually very simple when you apply my style of data psychology. Quickly summing up some other myths that people have. A lot of times when it comes to businesses, people think it's always about more data. The more data I show in my presentations, the more data I give to my stakeholders, the more solid my case will be. More somebody will think that I have done enough work or there's more credibility associated with me. Incorrect. When it comes to data-driven decisions especially, it is never about more data. It is always about having relevant data that support the decisions you want to make. Thereafter, a lot of people believe that data has all the answers. People stare in front of screens full of data, dashboards, Excel sheets, hoping that they will find the answers to the questions. Incorrect. Data does not have answers. Data only throws questions. When you see sales declining, there is no answer over there. The numbers don't tell you why the sales are declining. The numbers only raise the question, why sales are declining. The answer to that lies in your knowledge, your ability to process information, in your ability to apply data psychology to your data projects. And lastly, people think data-driven means data only. People think data-driven means it's all about tools, technology, numbers, there is no scope for human intuition. Absolutely wrong. Like I said, this brain is the biggest database for data information. If you only know how to utilize it, how to apply it correctly, your data-driven decision making is not only about numbers, but also with your very valuable experience that is stored over here. So what is data psychology? For me, data psychology is essentially about two broad elements. Just the way human cognition is a combination of analytical and intuitive thinking, left and right brain thinking as we have commonly known, just like how human cognition is a combination of left and right brain thinking, data psychology is also a combination of both analytical and intuitive thinking. Data analysis does not mean only technical and analytical skills. It is very, very intuitive as well. So for me, the concepts, the frameworks that I like to use for such a scenario is what I call analytical reasoning number one. Your ability to reason with data. Your ability to ask the right questions to data. Your ability to find the right questions from data. Very simply put, what we have today is just what the number is, and we leave it at that. Attrition is 18%. That is just what the number is. And most of us and most of our colleagues in our organizations leave it at that. That is just the beginning, my dear friends. That's not the end. Analytical reasoning is about asking the right questions. What is the number 18% attrition? How did it get there? Why did it get there? Where does it go from here? This is the basic foundation of analytical reasoning. Also, a lot of times, most people who look at data, look at it in isolation, just data. They have no understanding of the business context. Data without business context is not going to give you any answers. You need to have a full understanding of the business context. Only then will you be able to make most sense of that data. The problem with most organizations today is that business teams don't understand data because they think data is complex. Data scientists understand data coding, they don't understand business. You have two silos in your companies, neither are talking to each other. You have invested millions of dollars in getting the data infrastructure, but output is zero. So the idea is that you want to enable your business teams along with even your data scientists team to learn and apply data psychology. For your business teams to realize that data is not that complex, that data does not need any heavy or new technological skill set from your side. All it needs is a little bit application of mind for you to be able to make the most of your data without relying on a team of data scientists. Thereafter, pattern recognition is the foundation of both human and artificial intelligence. Yeah? The faces we recognize is pattern recognition. When I use my thumbprint to unlock my phone, that is pattern recognition. Pattern recognition is the basis, the foundation of all forms of intelligence. Pattern recognition is also the foundation of data psychology. Pattern recognition is also the foundation of understanding and deriving insights from that data. In this short session where I have about 3 more minutes, I will not be able to get into the depth of any of these things. I'm just giving you a very broad, high-level overview. So pattern recognition is your ability to see a sea of numbers and know which are those meaningful patterns in terms of directions, trends, clusters, ranking, pace, inflection points, outliers, so on and so forth. This is the analytical piece of data psychology, which is also supported by developing an analytical mindset. Now, a lot of people have a very tunnel vision in business. My job, my role, my KRA, this is the data that comes in this, that's it. Because of this tunnel vision, they are not able to make the most sense of that data. So the first thing people need to have is a broader vision. You need the broader vision which helps you understand the business context and then the data within it. Thereafter, we need constructive curiosity. Constructive curiosity is an objective-driven curiosity. Data analysis is all about asking questions, answering questions, but not asking questions just for the heck of it. Asking questions so that the audience can actually understand what you're leading at. It's about constructive curiosity. It's about a methodical approach. It's also about effective communication. I remember our earlier speaker here saying, technological people are not good communicators. And he insisted on that maybe 2-3 times. And I wouldn't have dared to say it, but because he has said it, I'm going to repeat that it is very important to be effective communicators with data. I go to the extent of saying that how basic business communication skills is a must, data communication skills is a must in today's day and age, because please tell me one job, one role that does not use data, that does not make charts, that does not make presentations. Data communication is as essential as basic communication. Thereafter, we come to the intuitive part. This data here is my biggest repository of information of data. If I just know how to use this, for this I like to introduce my concepts of analytical intuition and intuitive reasoning. What is intuition? Intuition is very simply knowing instantly what to do without realizing how you know it. That is intuition. Data can be made an intuitive skill just by a few practices, just by a few structured steps that I like to teach, right? First aspect of that is intuitive reasoning. Okay, sorry, first aspect of that is analytical intuition. Data analysts who don't have a lot of business experience, but are good with their numbers, with their data analysis skill set, with their tools, for them a natural extension is to build analytical intuition. What is analytical intuition? Common sense. Analytical intuition is common sense. If sales have dropped by 10%, what could be the 5 potential reasons that sales could have dropped? It cannot be 50 reasons. Every normal, little intelligent human being will be able to identify 5 potential reasons why sales could have dropped. That is the starting point. From that starting point, it gives us more directions to a new analysis. Intuitive reasoning is a natural extension for senior leaders. For those business leaders who have a lot of experience, a lot of information that is stored here, but they may not be very data savvy. They may not be very Excel savvy. They might not understand potentially how to connect data. For them, it is a slightly extension of what is your intuition telling you. Don't disregard your intuition. What we call expert intuition, which is built through years of experience of doing the same kind of role for decades maybe. Don't disregard your intuition. But the thing is that I cannot walk into a boardroom and say, invest $50 million there because my intuition is telling me. Cannot do it, not possible. So then, don't disregard your intuition, but learn to build upon that intuition with data, with reasoning. My intuition is telling me, yes, this decision to invest $50 million is the right decision. What are the 5 top reasons why you think this is the right? Within each of those 5, branch out further. What, why, just keep on doing that, and that is how you will arrive at some logical insights, probably supported by data, which will help you make a broader case. This, in a nutshell, is what I mean by data psychology. This is my classic formula of applying intuitive and analytical thinking models even to data. In the end, I would just like to close by saying that, yes, technology enabled data. Technology brought data to our doorstep. But from here on, I will have to give it a hand and pull it inside my house. That is that little effort which I will have to do. And that little effort that we have to do from here on to invite data into our homes, make them feel at home, make them a useful part of the business that we are doing, is to apply this brain, this data psychology. Data technology and data psychology both play complementary roles in helping us being data driven. Unfortunately, in today's business landscape, people have only focused on data technology without giving even consideration to data psychology. And with that, I would like to conclude this session. I've already exceeded my time. There's a lot more I could have and can speak about, but I think for now we'll leave it at that and open for any questions for everybody who was very intently listening to me for the last 30 minutes.